This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, and I'm your host, Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for watching today's show. Get geared up for NFL free agency with us. Take a look back at all the content that we've done. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications because this upcoming week, with free agency set to begin, anytime the Niners make a signing or lose a player, we're going to do a show. We'll be going live. We'll be breaking it down. Let's begin our mailbag with this one coming in from Rick Nyers, a $50 super chat as part of our live show on Tuesday. By the way, recording this on Tuesday, so keep that in mind if anything changes. Let's go Niner Nation. Rick, we appreciate you as always. Lyle with the $5 donation. Niners need to sign Marcus Mariota, then take the rest of the money and fill the rest of the needs. They have a lot of needs on this team. Right tackle, center. You can make the argument maybe right guard, maybe a cornerback, defensive tackle, edge rusher, safety. A couple of needs that come to mind when I think about this squad. As for Marcus Mariota, I'm not sure what his future is. There were some rumblings out of Atlanta at the end of the year when he got benched for Desmond Ridder that he was going to think about retiring. But I do think bringing in Marcus Mariota makes sense on this point. If Trey Lance is your QB1 and you don't want there to be a massive drop-off in the offensive system from Trey Lance to Marcus Mariota, like there was a little bit from Trey Lance drastically to Jimmy Garoppolo, then bringing in Marcus Mariota makes some sense. And is he going to be a better quarterback 3 option than a guy like Josh Johnson? Because up to this point, we're not sure what's going to happen with Brock Purdy's injury. Once we know what happens with Purdy's injury, that's when the Niners' plans for the quarterback position will become a lot more clear. So with that, let's ask you this. What is the biggest area of need on this Niners roster ahead of the free agency period? Drop it down below right now. Bruce Kuhn with the $5 super chat. I honestly don't think the cap space is there to trade for anyone, especially Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers, unless John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are just scared to make moves. There's always ways to free up and open up cap space. And it drives me crazy when people are in the comment section saying the Niners can't afford this player, they can't afford that player. They could create so much cap space by restructuring the contracts of some of their highest paid players. We talked about it and had a full breakdown on last Sunday's show. There are ways to clear up money. Now, of course, the salary cap is real, but there are financial gymnastics that you can maneuver and pull off to clear up some money. The thing with Aaron Rodgers, massive base salary, massive cap hit, and you'd have to give up a lot to trade for him. Looks as though the New York Jets might be all in on trying to get Aaron Rodgers. And then for Lamar Jackson, you're going to have to give him a new contract and give up draft capital as well. So that's a little bit of a problem too. But both of those players in this offensive scheme, it would be fun and would immediately have the Niners as bona fide Super Bowl contenders. But I think the Niners are going to move forward with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Lyle Bolyard, be a Niner fan. He meant to say, been a Niner fan since 1981 from Maryland. Love to watch your show. Keep up the good work. Lyle, thank you so much for your donation. Anybody who sends in a super chat or a super thanks, it goes a long way in supporting the show. That's why we give you daily shows. True Allure, what kickers should we get? I'm going to go Jake Moody from Michigan. I honestly would think about using a mid-round day 2, day 3 pick on a kicker. I really would. I think it's that important of a position. I don't understand why the San Francisco 49ers let Robbie Gould go. They did it to save money. But if one of these rookie kickers or journeyman kickers, depending on who works out and who doesn't, misses a kick, you're not worried about saving money. You're worried about going home with an L either in the regular season or in the playoffs. And Robbie Gould has been money. He wants to continue kicking. He's 29 for 29 in his playoff career, and you're letting him go to save money. That is a massive risk for this football team. But Jake Moody, he has a leg. College football playoff semifinal. He had a 57-yarder with ease that hit the back net. I think that he could really do some damage, and he's next in line to be one of the better kickers in the NFL. Gunner, Jessie Bates III is on my wish list, or C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Both really good players. C.J. Gardner-Johnson has a little bit more versatility, but what's funny is that prior to 2022, he didn't play a lot of safety. Played primarily out of the nickel slot role. More than 1,000 snaps registered there throughout his career, only 80-plus snaps from safety. Then he goes back to a full-time safety with Philadelphia, played really well. Lacerated his kidney in Week 12, missed like the rest of the regular season, still tied for the league high in interceptions. That tells me he has great instincts, is a good player, and a lot of those picks came at opportune times. I think that he might be a little bit cheaper than Jessie Bates, so I'd go CJ Gardner-Johnson. Jessie Bates a really good player. Unfortunately, though, I don't know if the Niners are going to pay big-time dollars to a safety. Ryan is next up. What did you think of Jake Haener in the Combine going up against some big-name college quarterbacks? I thought he did great. I've continued to say I like Jake Haener as a potential backup draftee for the Niners. I like Jake Haener. I like Clayton Tune. I like Stetson Bennett. Now, for Haener and Stetson Bennett, because of what Brock Purdy did in year one and because of all of the experience they have, teams might look at those players and say, okay, you know, Brock Purdy got drafted Mr. Relevant, but clearly he displayed some skills at Iowa State, and the experience allowed him to have an immediate impact and play well and look like a seasoned vet. Now, are other teams going to look at a Jake Haener and a Stetson Bennett, look at all their experience, and maybe draft them a little bit earlier off that Brock Purdy type of model? Potentially. But Jake Haener, Stetson Bennett, I'd really like them to get drafted by Kyle Shanahan. James Kramer. Trade for Khalil Mack or Brian Burns to help Bosa and get Tom Brady. Wow, this is loaded. So, Khalil Mack older. I wouldn't want him. I think that his best days are behind him, although he's still playing good football. Brian Burns, though, if we want to talk about dream trade targets for San Francisco, Brian Burns is that guy. Since coming into the league out of Florida State, this guy has consistently been one of the best edge rushers who consistently produces a lot of sacks. Him on the other side of Nick Bosa, it legitimately might give the Niners the best edge rushing combination in the league. And for Tom Brady, what if you give him a call in August if things aren't working out with Purdy's injury or Trey Lance, and you're like, TB12, you're still retired, but you want to come back home to NorCal, play for the team that you grew up loving with Joe Montana. You were at Candlestick for the catch. Come on home. Brent Smith signed Ryan Tannehill as a placeholder for Trey Lance. No chance. Ryan Tannehill, first of all, is on the roster for the Tennessee Titans, and Rand Carthen, who was in this Niners front office, did say that Tannehill's going to be their guy. It's not like general managers have never lied before. Tannehill, too expensive, too mid, and he's still on that Titans roster. Marcus Palmer. Honest take on the quarterback situation. Do we sign, trade for someone, or rock with Purdy and Lance? My honest prediction, my honest take, is that the Niners move forward with two quarterbacks on the rookie contracts in Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. It makes the most roster sense. It makes the most financial sense. Would I make a call to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers if he's not traded to the Jets? Yes, I would. Would I think about Lamar Jackson if Shanahan thinks he's a good scheme fit? Yes, I would. I just think that Purdy Lance, that's a little bit more realistic. Logan, would you trade Elijah Mitchell to maybe draft another running back in this upcoming NFL draft? I love Elijah Mitchell as the player. I love what he's been able to do when he's been on the field. His first 2 years, he's probably one of the better backup running backs in the NFL when he is on the field. Unfortunately for him, been injured far, far too often. And it's really unfortunate because he continues to have those knee issues. He's such a good scheme fit, sees the hole quickly, has really good speed, good physicality. Hopefully going into year 3, this is a year in which Elijah Mitchell is going to be able to stay healthy, but I wouldn't trade him because he's cheap. Last question in this sack, Gunner XPW. Niners, seeing they didn't franchise tag anyone, makes me feel like they're going to make a big signing. TB12, look, I think that bad organizations, they're the ones who franchise tag players because oftentimes you're getting that player far too pricey on a franchise tag than what you can get them on a contract. And when you sign a player to a contract, sometimes you can get them to a team-friendly deal where you can either front-load it to give you relief on the back end or back-load it to give you some relief on the front end. For instance, like if the Eagles were to tag CJ Gardner-Johnson, which they didn't, it would be $14.5 million. They could sign him realistically for $11 million. That's $3 million you can use on a different player. So kind of gives you that thought. Frank Bailey with the $5 super chat. He continues to be one of our recent super chat legends. We thank you so much for that donation. It allows us to do videos every day, build new studios here at Chat Sports, hire new people. So we appreciate that. If you love the 49ers Report like Frank Bailey and like I do as the host of the show, type real one down in the chat right now.